Hey, it's Sean and Mike. These brew dudes hanging out in some dude's basement at a bar that he built just for some YouTube program. And we have two beers here in front of us. This is a smash beer tasting. It's with a hop that we know and love, but from two different places in the world that typically it's, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's a typical place for this particular hop variety to be grown, harvested, and then brewed with. One of our viewers, Sean from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, wrote to us and said, hey, do you want me to send you some hops? And of course, I'm going to say yes. And so he actually comments on our videos all the time.
Thanks, Sean.
He goes by the moniker of Frazzled Penguin. You can find him on Instagram at Frazzled Penguin, all one word, and he is the president of his brew club, the Winnipeg Brew Bombers. And so he sent us some hops. It's from the Grain to Glass homebrew shop. Mm-hmm. You may have seen me with a homebrew log that was sent along with the hops. And so in this glass, the one with the red labeling, that is from Cascade hops from Canada.
So grown in Canada.
So they are grown in Canada, according to Sean. Available from his homebrew shop and in Winnipeg. And so, you know, they sent it, and like this was during the times of who knows if things can get across the border, you know, all kinds of strange supply chain issues and or shipping, you know, regulations, who knows. But they got here and I brewed with them. So that is Exhibit A. That's this beer. Okay, so that's Cascade hops in a smash beer format. So American two-row, a lot of Cascade hops in here. No dry hops, because I'll tell you why. But no dry hops, but really kind of like using an ounce worth of hops in a 1 gallon format, US gallon, and just spraying them across the boiling brewing process. So I put some at 60 minutes, I put some at 15, put a whole bunch at flame out, and that's what you get. And so the other beer, Exhibit B, we have Cascades grown right here in Massachusetts, USA. These are my brother's Cascade hops. They're whole cones. He's not gonna dig that.
I love your brother.
He's gonna watch it and go like,
I love your brother.
That's SOB.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Hey, brother.
So he grew these, and this is from the harvest of last year. They are whole cone, so I had to, you know, do some.
Your brother hasn't installed a pelleting facility yet at the ranch?
That's this coming year. So I had to make some considerations, because when you're brewing small batches, knowing that whole cones like to suck up the wort, you know, you have to kind of like continue.
Compensate for that
try to figure out how you can add to the overall volume of what you're boiling, and eventually cooling down to ferment. So I'm interested in your take.
I'm interested in your take.
I think I've tasted a little bit of the Canadian Cascade hop beer. I have not tasted the homegrown hops yet.
Okay, Canadian. It doesn't really actually. I'm fascinated by. I've read about this, and we've experienced it a little bit of ourselves. The terroir effects on hops, where you grow them, is pretty significant.
Yep.
As far as Cascade goes, I get a lot of like, this is kind of like a distinct, like, juicy fruit gum type of thing going for it. It's not like grapefruit with a hint of pine.
Yeah.
Like classic Pacific Northwest Cascade hops that I'm used to. It's fruity for sure, a little bit floral. But to me, it's almost juicy fruit gum. I mean, I use that because a lot of people do understand that aroma profile.
Yeah, but it's
flavor-wise, it delivers the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a fruity, sort of non-descriptive fruity flavor profile. maybe there's something. There's a little bit something, but there is a little something on my palate. Something a little bit vegetal on there. There's just something else behind it that I just can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah, I'm really trying to pull through any citrus, and I'm not getting it.
No, it's all non-citrus fruit.
Yeah.
And the bitterness, there's almost no lingering bitterness. I mean, there's a touch of a balancing bitterness there, but the IBU feel to it is very low, very low. It's all fruit. It's all fruit.
Okay.
And then this one. So this one, on the same vein, this aroma is a little bit, it's very similar actually, but it's, the aroma here, instead of it being juicy fruit, it's more of like Fruit Loops cereal. Fruit Loops cereal, there's a little bit of like a, and then on top of that, there's definitely like a geranium floral component, a little bit more of that, like, yeah, it's definitely like a floral component to it that isn't here as much. The fruit is, it's still fruity. It's still, but again, it's not grapefruit and pine.
No.
Right? It's not orange zesty, whatever. It is more like that artificial Fruit Loop type of thing. There's a depth to the aroma. There's an interesting complexity to the aroma that's a little bit darker, maybe a little bit danker than this.
Yep.
This is lighter. This is this is definitely there's a component.
There's more
to
bitterness to this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this beer is balanced a little more bitter. There's a little bit more, maybe possibly a little bit of pithiness there in the bitterness flavor.
Yeah.
But it does carry through again into that. I'm getting a little bit more like now maybe some more like lime leaf component to it. But there's also a little bit of I get more of that, just a touch of that. I haven't used this in a long time, but that diesel-y, possibly chivey thing going on here. This is like Fruit Loops with a little bit of chive in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not unpleasant. It's just that it's an interesting dynamic. If I'm just going to talk about it straight up as far as like a terroir type thing, there's definitely a component to this that is a little chivey, a little bit geranium. If you've ever had like those little purple flowers and the like fuzzy green leaves, geranium component to it, which is sort of herbally, a little bit spicy.
Almost potpourri.
Almost potpourri,
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't dislike it. I think in the right proportions, you could blend this in with a couple other things. Reminds me a little bit of, I might be forgetting it, but it reminds me a little bit of like Floral hops.
Yep.
So maybe this, you know what this might pair well with, interesting, would be like that coconutty Sabro thing, right? Which is like a really strange hop, but it might work well with this guy here. So
polarizing hop.
This I could drink probably straight up. Or blending it in with a little Citra Amarillo, or maybe hitting it, maybe bitter with this, with like something really classic, like a Columbus or something like that.
Yep. No, I
Would be
agree.
pretty interesting there.
Yep.
So yeah, it's the same breed, if you will, but the terroir is really making them both very different.
So just so everyone knows, the same yeast strain was used for both of these. I always use US 05 dry
that's the
yeast.
Standard.
Just because it's easy with smaller batches, I can, shake out a few, what I think is like 3 grams worth of dry yeast into a gallon batch. And that's what. So like, I don't think it's a yeast-derived flavor difference. I think it really is based on the hops that were put in. And it's funny about like just the flowering. He grows these in his flower bed. I wonder if anything gets picked. I mean, who knows? But still, like, you wonder about what else these plants are grown near and what is that effect.
But picking up some zinnias from the garden.
Yes.
Some marigolds.
Who knows? Other things. Yeah, but you know what? What you're describing is, if I were to taste the flower, I would expect based on that.
There's that pungentness that comes from like geraniums, marigolds. Like there's that, tacky aroma almost, right? Yeah. So
Sean shared a recipe called it's called Bombastic Blonde Ale. I was going to say his, but it could be, the Homebrew Club's. I'm going to brew this because they sent a couple of packages of the Cascade. So I don't know if I have enough for this recipe. I will then supplement with some other Cascade, but look for that in a upcoming video as we also do Jar of Destiny stuff, because I got to get on that.
Me too.
Belgian triple.
Yep.
But at the same time, we have to figure out what else we're going to be posting in between those those beers. So
we got things.
So what do you think? Is it this one or is it this one, if you were to choose?
As long as your brother doesn't get upset with me, I like this one.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is just really dynamic. I think it's too early for me to really tell how I would work these. Neither one of them are bad. It's just that it's amazing to me as a science guy and someone who's really into organoleptic, just tasting everything I can taste and trying to pull apart differences. I'm just blown away how different that they can really be. Like, you know, so I think they both have their utility. Now that but this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it, right? It's smash beer. You know, you know what Cascade is like from drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, right?
Yep.
You know what Cascade is like. But now you're living in Canada, you get these, you do this and go, oh, okay, this is very different. Even though it's called Cascade, this to me, this and this, they're almost like any other type of New England type of hop that you like, a hazy IPA type hop. I should say, let me rephrase that. New World hops, right? That are very fruit forward, very berry forward, tropical forward. You need this whole series is about doing these types of things so you understand what you have.
Yep.
Right? Again, pairing this with like some Columbus or some Chinook or something, but pairing this with like some Sabro or
Brew
Mosaic or something, right? A little bit of that green pepper diesel thing from a Mosaic in this, it would synergize, it would work.
That's awesome.
Right? So
cool. All right, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and so does Mike. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel because we do this kind of thing every single week. If you have some comments, leave them below for John and Mike. These Brew Dudes. Brew on.
cheers.
Cheers.